Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'll show you the game carts I got first here. These were all $2 a piece, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. $10 for all of them. Anyways, got a couple for ColecoVision, which ones I already have, but I hardly ever find ColecoVision stuff. There's a few systems I have to where when I find games, I don't care if I already have it, I just get them to have extras. So, got another copy of Donkey Kong, and another copy of Carnival. Got one 2600 game here. This is by Activision, Space Shuttle, Journey into Space. Didn't recognize it, so picked it up. And then these two are in great shape. Got Exevius for the 7800 and Donkey Kong Jr. for the 7800. Then also for $2, which was a freaking steal. This was in a box of miscellaneous stuff, kind of like those last two Nintendo games that I got that turned out to be kind of valuable. These go for about $20. Got it for $2. This is the original style Wiko command control, bat handle version or exclamation point. And this is what I had as a kid when I got my Atari, and I don't know if I wore the damn thing out or if this was something I passed on to my nephews. As in, they got all my retro stuff. Didn't know they'd be worth as much as they are now, so I passed down all my old retro game stuff and kept what I really played a lot of, which was pretty much my computer and my Intellivision. Nephew's got the Atari and one of my old Intellivisions. Anyways, this is my new favorite joystick, which I've shown a few times here. Just wanted to show you the difference. Regular command control, deluxe. Big freaking difference, man. Till I got another one of these, I didn't realize how big a difference was on the size. Joysticks are pretty much the same size. A little bit fancier on this one is in this one. It's one of their arcade sticks, like out of a machine, and they just made a housing for it. This one, more like the Wiko Boss, which is the cheaper ones that are black and gray, just made better. Steel shaft for the joystick handle, a little bit better on the leaf switches, otherwise same thing, and then you get 2 fire buttons instead of 1. As in the Boss was the cheapie, but nice, and then this was like getting the best until I found this. Didn't have any friends that had one of these, man. I don't even remember seeing these back in the day. They must have been pretty freaking pricey. As in this thing, it's still solid. There is absolutely no wobble in the joystick. This just has a little bit, but not enough to interfere. Is on movement, and the fire button, man, spot on. Doesn't get much better. Now, I did get myself another system. Kinda, sorta, as in, hopefully it won't turn out to be a display piece, as in paperweight. Got this for $10 at kind of a half-ass yard sale. Little mini indoor swap meet, as in, not too many people there, but he's got kind of cool stuff. Anyways, I'm hoping this works, as in, I haven't found a power supply yet, and I've got the 600. Anyways, now I've got an 800 XL. So now I've got the 600 XL, the 800, and then the original 800. That is the behemoth that can crush this thing into shit, man. This is a pretty heavy system. My original 800, man, I got it boxed up right now, but I'd swear it's about twice as heavy. As in, everything is sealed up or whatever in that metal housing type shell for like TV interference or whatever. Kind of like the original 2600 Heavy Sixer. It's built like a freaking tank, but I can see why these are pricey to get one online for the shipping. It's got some weight to it. And cosmetically, it's in good shape. It's just got this mod on it, which fortunately looks like they just wired it directly in the board somewhere. So once I get a power supply, if that ever happens and this thing possibly works, I'll find out what it is and either keep it on there or take it off. Otherwise, everything's pretty much intact. So, on this Odyssey 2 system, just like I did on the last video when I showed the composite video mod, which was really easy, I'll give the link that I found to do this mod. Anyways, I decided to make it to where I can use Atari joysticks, or even better, these joysticks, on this system. But make it to where I don't mess up the originals, as in these do unplug. I was right. Pretty much plug in just like the Model 1 Intellivision, to where it's just a row of pins and then this just plugs into that. And they're in good shape, so I'm going to keep them detached in a drawer so they'll stay in good shape. So get this turned around and I'll grab the cam so I can show you up and close what I did here. Anyways, as you can see, got two joystick ports to the back, and they are the metal type. I got them at Radio Shack, and for both of them it was just under $5, which isn't bad. And then the screws and bolts I had, as in you don't get that with them. And on putting in screws to mount them puppies, if you put them back here on this particular system, start out with a small size drill bit, and if it's too small, gradually make it bigger, as in some of these areas here I just had enough plastic left to make the hole. Any more and it would have been breaking off, like those two would have became one big hole or whatever. So you got just enough room to work with. These back there, they're nice and hidden. I didn't want to do them up front, make it obvious, because hard to show there, but I cut out the holes, as in traced out the face of these on the plastic, and then used one of those kind of half drill, half cutting type bits for the Dremel, to where you drill the hole and then just start moving sideways. The problem, that thing's going at such a high RPM, man, it starts melting the plastic, so you gotta do a little bit, stop, pull the plastic pieces off of the bit, and then start over. So, kind of sloppy, but not bad. Looks good enough for me, and really simple to do, man. For you guys. For me, it was my eyes, man. A lot of fine soldering to where you really gotta be spot on, and my eyes can't take it. It took me all day to get those puppies put in, which would have taken someone else maybe 30 minutes at most. But these controllers work awesome on this system. So far, those are the only ones I've tried, man. I'm sure every other type of Atari joystick works great on this. Just spot on accurate, man, for the movement and stuff. Actually better. These ones, since I had to clean the system of dust, I did open up one of these. I'd compare these more to the Intellivision on how they did it, as in the reason that thing stays centered so well, it's like a upside down bowl in there that it's attached to, and it's got a nice big spring that's heavy duty, one that won't wear out over time, as in old enough. I think this is an 81 Odyssey 2 system, but for all the direction and stuff and the fire button, it's just like the way the disc is set up on the Intellivision, to where it's that layered plastic, and then this is just putting tension on it to make the movement work. So, kind of like the Intellivision, something to where if they start to where they don't work, Just open it up and go over it with an eraser or whatever, give it a good cleaning, and that should make them work again. Otherwise, they're not bad. I just wanted to be able to use these, and as you see there, I didn't do any cutting. And by the way, as you can see, the wires are exposed. That made it really easy to hook up my cut Genesis controller cables to the system, as in with 3 extra wires that I just cut off, man. Same colored wires. So I basically just kept these plugged in, and what I did was, instead of taking out this board in there and working from the top of it, I worked from the bottom where the solder points are for the pins. Just followed along each color for that particular pin and did my soldering. So it's all on the bottom of the board, so I can still plug those in and use them if I want, which is cool. So anyways, another good, legit, easy to do mod, man. And it's worth it. Much better using the other controllers on this, man. I like it when you have a choice. Now on the instructions that I'll give the link for, man, once again, I recommend print them out if you have a printer. And I'm going to say add to them on wiring it to the board. One controller easier than the other, as in the pins. It's just 6 pins in a straight row. Nothing like the Genesis or anything. And one of them has little leads going off of it in the circuitry going up to nice little large solder point dots. So you don't have to solder to those pins. That was a cinch. The other one, kind of half and half. Some of them had those extra areas, but going into different spots to where you're jumping around a bit, so make sure you're getting them in order, as in exact same order on both sides. Like if you're starting from the left, whatever color started from the left on the first one is going to be the same on the next. And just make sure you're, like I said, keep those joysticks plugged in and make sure that you're getting the right spots, as in trace out the lead down to that colored wire. Now on adding on the extra joystick ports, this link that I found, and I don't know why they do this, man. I already fucking have dyslexia and ADD, man, where I looked at it and it was like, and automatically freaking did it backwards. As in, they're showing you the face of it where you plug in your joystick. And when you're doing the mod, the first thing that pops in your brain while you're looking at the instructions is to follow that pattern, which is backwards. So I recommend where he drew the front of the joystick port, draw another one and just number it backwards for the back of it and cross out the other. And then the other stuff, just eyeball it. Easy enough. And I'm thinking that's on all the Odysseys, including like the maybe even the Philips Panasonic or whatever one. I think it's the G7000 or whatever. That's the one where I've got a video of a German dude working on one, and hopefully it's the same setup, but the way he does it, he cuts the cord on these and leaves just enough slack to where he can go from the board to the new joystick ports, and then strips the wires on both of these and rewires them to some new plugs so you can use these on an Atari or still on the Odyssey, just wired up different. So, lots of different ways to do it. Now, since I'm already making this video fairly long, another thing to bring up, saying Sega Genesis controller cord, I did not use an original Sega brand one. I did that at first and it was just messed up controller, but the cord was good. As soon as I started stripping the multicolored wire, I don't know if any of you guys or gals have ever gotten like some really cheap headphones or the earbuds or whatever and wanted to use that cable for something, and then stripped it and found out that it's that kind of Looks like miniaturized gold tinsel or whatever from Christmas. It's like not round wire, it's this flat type stuff that just, you can tear it, pull it apart real easy, and usually it's got some string wrapped in with it. That's what it was on the original Genesis controller. Fortunately, I'm a collector. I got a lot of freaking controllers that I just pick up with miscellaneous stuff that I'll get. Sometimes I'll find stuff in a box and it's got working plus busted. So I got a box full of just busted stuff that I use for parts. Anyways, I cannot remember the brand name. All I'm saying is just find like an off-brand 6-button or 3-button controller and chop the cord on it if it's one that you're not going to use, and see if it's regular freaking wire. That's what I ended up doing. And even better, the original Genesis controllers, man, the wire is really freaking thick, so it doesn't bend too well for like tucking it behind stuff. The aftermarket one I had, and I recommend doing this, not really for where you solder into the jacks on the back of it for hooking up controllers, but to the board. See how far back that is stripped to expose all the wires? I'd say go back about that far, and if you're afraid it might break off, man, hot glue it. Just do it enough to where, because it's right at the edge where you're soldering on the board, so you can flip the wire under it and have it to where just this wire is being pushed up against the side of it. Because I found that if you have the cord going off the side, the way that's recessed on the back, it was hitting it and I could not put the shell together. So, something to try. Otherwise, man, I got it to fit pretty good. Just had to tinker with it and finally it went together right. And the lengths that I cut was about that long. Just enough to where if I have to take it apart again, I'm not yanking on any of the damn wires. So I got enough slack to where I can pull it apart easy enough without breaking what I did. Otherwise, man, legit, just like the last one. Unless you have an RCA TV. As in, the composite video mod I did. Can't tell you what model, because I ain't looking at it, but all I can say is the tube TV got in the living room. It's an RCA, it's one of the last ones they made. Just a little 26-inch. And it does not like this system. And after what it did when I tested out the joystick ports to make sure everything was working, I think it was one of my plug-and-play ones for the flashback. One of my flashback 2s, that TV doesn't like. As in, you'll hook it up and like maybe 10 seconds after you start playing, it will go black and white. This, it works, but what it does is I hook it up to that particular TV where it says video 1 or video 2 to tell you what's plugged in or whatever. At first that will go out, then as soon as I start playing the game, it pops back up and stays there, and then eventually, like maybe a couple minutes into the game, it will go black and white. But that's the only TV it screws up on so far. I've got 3 of them in here, including this old school one that's been AV modded. This thing's from like 75 at the latest. I'm thinking it's older than that, and some guy AV modded the thing. It works beautifully on this. Works beautifully on my flat screen TV that's on the wall there, and the TV that's hidden behind that behemoth-sized friggin' chair behind me. No problems. So, hopefully if you guys do any of this, you got more than one TV to test it on. So you won't have to take it back to the past and have that friggin' RF. And once again, man, can't get any simpler on this system, man. I've never had a system that's old school that's easier to mod than this puppy. It's really freaking simple. It's just my eyes. That's the only thing that made it kind of a pain for me. If it wasn't for my eyes, it would have been a cinch. Something I could do in 30 minutes or less, easy. Definitely on this, man, is in just a couple solder points on the board which is basically just two little dots that you link together with one wire and then use the other wire for the audio on the other and then put in your jacks or put on a cord. And if you guys want to do this, for anybody new, it's like a video or two back. I did it recently, so easy enough to find that video showing what I did. So, hate to think how big this file is going to be. I'll let you guys go and feel free to comment.